Hey y'all, welcome back to the Chalk Sports Podcast. And man, it's a minute since I've been able to say the word podcast because we have been full on slacking as of late. We have not recorded a podcast episode in nearly a month. But with NHL playoffs and NBA playoffs wrapping up, I think it's time to really talk about those sports instead of just keeping it with the constant videos. I want to really get into depth in these sports and not have to keep making shorts about them. And we're going to go team by team, starting with the Pacers and Thunder series. And we're going to just really get into it, touch on to each subject, and get through why these teams are here, how they got here, what they did to deserve this spot. And we're starting with the Pacers, the team who's the underdog in this series. Pacers have been through a lot. Let's be real. Not a lot of people have favored the Pacers. I personally haven't favored the Pacers in their first two series, and then I started to turn around on them during the Knicks series. But starting with the Pacers, their first two games were the Bucks. They beat both of them. They beat the Bucks 4-1, and they dominated the Bucks. And offensively, they looked very strong against the Bucks, but they showed weakness on defense with Giannis being very dominant. And we started to have question marks. And then they came into the Cavs spot and also won 4-1. And that's when I started to feel confident, because originally I had the Cavs, as a normal human does. A lot of people had the Cavs. A lot of people felt confident in the Cavs. I did too. And the Cavs just could not get his game from them. They lost the first one and the second one, and then won the third one, and then lost the second one and the fourth one, and the fifth one. But you're starting to notice the pattern here. Pacers win the first two. Team wins one. Pacers win the next two. That's stayed very true for 4 games in the Knicks series, where they won the first 2 games in magnificent fashion, and then lost one, and then won one, and then they lost again the fifth game, and then came into game 6 and won that one. They got here very strong. Their offense has been firing on all cylinders up to this point. They're a very high-level team in general. Coming into this game, they have the second best offense during the playoffs, the 13th best defense, the best field goal percentage, shooting 49.7% from the field, which is absolutely vile. They have the highest three-point percentage made, less three-point attempts, but it doesn't matter when you have the most threes made again. They're shooting 40% from three. Is that going to stay consistent? We don't know. Opponent three-point percentage, they're top 5 in the league. They've been playing out of their mind as of late. True shooting percentage, they are 61.2%. The Cavs were second place, 2% lower than them. Turnover rate, they're one of the better teams in the league when it comes to that. Blocks, they are just so dominant throughout. But then we get to the Thunder. And man, the Thunder didn't do this all through tough fought, hard close wins. No, they dominated the playoffs until the Nuggets series. So they started the playoffs against the Memphis Grizzlies, and they swept them. Full sweep. Get the brooms out, because they just smoked the Memphis Grizzlies. Grizzlies lost 131-80 at one point. That was that bad. And then we got to the next series, and then we got shocked. Instantly, Nuggets take a win, then Thunder take a win, then Nuggets take a win, Thunder take a win, Thunder take a win, going up 3-2, Nuggets take the game 6, set it to 7, and the Nuggets couldn't do it. It happens. Wolves then get swept 4-1 on a gentleman's sweep, and it really comes down to just, that's how they got here. And they are the best team in the league, without a doubt. And it's kind of tough to say that the Pacers are going to win this one, and I'm not going to, because Thunder won the season series both by 10 points. They have been the best team in the league of all time. And yes, I see the Pacers are very hot. Can it carry over? Because honestly, if it carries over, if the Pacers play just as good as they've been against the Thunder before, or against every team before, then sure, give it to the Pacers. I'd be very happy if the Pacers won it all. But if they can't, then where do you end up? You end up losing by a lot, because this Thunder team is very dominant, and this series has the most potential for an absolute butt kicking, because nobody can keep the Pacers' pace. They're going insanely nuclear, and I don't expect that to stay true. When you're shooting 40% from 3, something is wrong. The second place team is shooting 37, and they haven't played a game. The team that has played more than 2 series is the Cavs at 5 with 36.3%. That's a huge disparity and a huge inconsistency and a sign that they can't keep this consistent. We'd have to see if they were able to, but I don't think they will be able to. And that's why give me game 1 and game 2 to the Thunder. Game 3, I think, will go to the Pacers. I think the Pacers will get a game, but I think that's all they get. I think they get gentlemen swept. They are not at the level of the Nuggets. The Nuggets really were the third best team in the league. I'm putting the Celtics at 2, even with them getting knocked out early. I think it was very unfortunate the way they got knocked out. I don't really count it too much for them. So, I got the Thunder winning all in the NBA. Let's move over to the NHL, because this one is way more entertaining in my eyes, to be honest. Panthers, Oilers, and let's do a little flashback. I don't know what sign you want to make for a flashback. But we're back to 2024, where the Panthers played the Oilers in the final World Cup or the Stanley Cup last year. And the Panthers took a 3-0 lead. But then something magical happened. Oilers win 3 straight games in a row. And then game 7, they couldn't pull it off. In those games, McDavid went nuclear. That is what I kind of expect. Because McDavid in 2024, he had games against the Panthers. The first game, he had no goals. Second game, he had a point. Third game, he had 2 points. Fourth game, he had 4 points. Second game, he had 4 points with 2 goals and 2 assists. And then he kind of fell off a cliff. That is what we have to expect, is McDavid to be able to pull through for this series to go their way. Overall, I have a hard time picking the series not going to 7. I think this series is easily a 7-game series, without a doubt in my mind. And it's kind of been weird for the Panthers. Let's start with the Panthers. Started in Tampa, where they won the first 2 games, lost the third one, won the next 2 to win in 4. Credit them there. And then the Maple Leafs came out, beat them in the first 2. They beat them in the second 2. Panthers beat them in the fourth or the 5th one. Maple Leafs beat them in the 6th one. Panthers beat them in the 7th one. To win in 7, which is a very competitive series. Bobrovsky played on the top of his head, though, getting 1 shutout and 1 1-point game. He played really good. Moving on to the Carolina Hurricanes versus Panthers. And I had a feeling this series would be bad. I already said it. There was a Panthers shutout in the second game. And the Hurricanes never scored over 4 points. Panthers, on the other hand, did that 3 different times. Out of a 5-game series. No, sorry. Yeah. Out of a 5-game series, they did it 4 times. That's how good the Panthers were in that series. And now you're bringing that momentum into this one. But let's not sleep on the Oilers, because that's another team that has been electric in the playoffs. Starting in Los Angeles, they lost the first 2 games. And then they came back and swept after the first 2 games to win in 6. So they won 4-2. And then the Golden Knights came in and they won the first 2, lost the third one, won the next 2. And then the Stars came in, and they lost the first one, and then won the next 4. They're on a 4-game winning streak coming into this game. I feel very good about this team. Who do I got winning, though? And it's very, very hard for me to pick. McDavid is on a heat streak. Going 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 goals, 2 assists, 2 goals, 1 goal, 2 assists. Like, he's been rolling. And statistically, they match up very well. During the playoffs, the Oilers have better goals. The Panthers had better defense. Panthers have better penalty kill. Oilers have better penalty play. They are just so good at hitting. The Panthers are so good at hitting. That is the question mark we ask. Can the Panthers really rile up the Oilers? Because if the Oilers take too many hits, do they look worse? And historically, I think they dominated the hits. Yeah, they've been dominating the hits for a minute. They beat them in, I think, most of the Dallas Stars games. So now it's a question of goalie. Because I think players on the ice matter a lot. But if I went players on the ice, it would easily go to the Oilers. McDavid, Leon, Bouchard, Ryan Nugget, Hopkins are all better than the 4 in Florida. Honestly, I'd say the top 2 for the Oilers are better than the first player and Sam Reinhart. Or you could go Bennett, you could go Barkov. It doesn't matter. Leon and McDavid are better. And the best defensive man for the Panthers would have to be, I guess, Forsling. And the best defensive player on the Oilers is Bouchard, and he easily laps Forsling. I'd argue the second best player on the Oilers laps Forsling with Nurse. So if we're looking at it from that perspective, I feel very confident in the goalie. I feel very confident in Stuart Skinner, but I also feel very confident in Bobrovsky, and that's where it puts me in a pickle, an absolute nut twist. I don't even know what I'm saying. I don't know who's going to be dominant from goalie, because Bobrovsky throughout the season has been very good. He has been one of the best goalies up to this point. And pulling up stats now, Stuart Skinner, where's goalie stats? Goalie stats. Skinner allowed one more goal, 0.4 more goals. Bobrovsky had a better save percentage, but Skinner had more saves. I think that's saves. Yeah, saves. Skinner had more saves. He had more shots against. He had to deal with a lot more shots. He had more shutouts. He just went through a lot more, it feels like. But Bobrovsky's Bobrovsky, and he's a playoff riser. We saw it last year. Besides for those 2 games that he lost, Game 7, 95.8% save rate. Game 3, 91. Game 2, 94.7. Game 1, he had a shutout. That's what I'm kind of expecting. On the other side, Skinner has been kind of question marks. I don't even know if he played last year. I could be wrong, but I don't think he was on the team, unless I'm mistaken, which also wouldn't be surprising. No, he was on the team. My bad. Let's see his stat line last year. Last year, his stat line, 90%, 95%, 90%, 97, 82.6, 89.3, 88.2. He was good last year. They also played the Dallas Stars. I missed that. They played the Dallas Stars to get there. But did he get better is the question mark. And I argue he didn't. Yes, he has. I think he had more saves this year. No, he had way less saves this year. He's been way weaker. They have been way weaker as a team. But the Oilers are very hot, and that's where it becomes such a big question mark for me in general. Who do I want? And if I'm being honest, who I want is not who I think is going to win it. I want the Panthers to win it. I'm from Florida. I want the Panthers to win it. But it's not going to the Panthers. Give me the Oilers. I think the offense in general for the Oilers is very more volatile. It's more offensive. It's better in a lot of lights, and I think that's how it goes for the Panthers. So to recap, thank y'all for watching first off. I haven't done a podcast in a minute, and I've had a hard time picking topics. We're waiting for stuff to kind of close out for MLB to get closer so I can do some mid-season. I'm also in between just doing it by myself, so I don't really have that person to debate off of. NFL will be coming at one point. College football will be coming at one point. We'll get there. It's just right now it's kind of a dry spot. Comment what you guys think, though. Who do you think is going to win? Recapping, I'd say the NBA, I'm going OKC in 5. NHL-wise, I'm going with the Oilers in 7. Ending it in Edmonton is the way I think it goes out. I think it's the most storied, beautiful way for the NHL to close out their series, their season, everything they've gotten. I think Skinner's really going to be a difference maker, though. If Skinner does not show up at the highest level like I'm expecting him to, it will be the reason they will lose. They will not make it that far if Skinner doesn't show up. But if Skinner does show up like I'm thinking, then yeah, I think it's pretty simple. Thank y'all for watching. Make sure to watch the shorts. The shorts I try to keep them very entertaining. Like, subscribe, share. I'm so trained. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.